Go. Go.
I enjoy when things are a little surreal. And in my head, my entire thought process is, I don't care if it doesn't make sense to anyone. I think the weirder it is, the awesomer it is. Everything I create, it has to be a little weird. It has to be very absurd, but it doesn't have to be good. That's the thing. I never set out for something to be good. I can't even tell it. Was this good? I don't know. That's subjective, but I want it to be weird. I think the initial things that I wanted was like, oh, I like MMOs a lot, so I think it would be really neat to do something that is MMO-like. And then I've always wanted the wizard, and I always wanted the choir of children. Those were non-negotiables. Well, they could be negotiated. They could have been. I didn't know. When I was writing the initial document, I didn't know if they're going to give me a choir of children. In the pitch, I'm like, it would be really cool. You know, we don't have to, but it would be really cool. Do you guys think we can get a children's choir? And then they're like, When you have an idea, they have to run it through so many people to see if it's okay to do. Can you imagine meetings upon meeting? Imagine clocking in to your 9 to 5 and you have to do a meeting about a children's choir for the 5th time that week. And the meeting is like, do you think this is a good idea for Gigi Murin to have 15 children singing on her stream? An hour-long meeting each time. So I think even that in itself, like how it came to be, and the fact that a lot of people had to have very serious meetings about this, it kills me. It literally kills me. I think in the beginning, we had to go into meetings of like, this is what I want to do. You really need, like, this scene, and this scene, and this scene, and then all of these props are gonna be in it, and this is everything I want. So we went to those meetings, and I had this really detailed document, and I'm like, yeah, I want all of this, and it would be like this, and this is gonna happen. You can just tell, they're like, what the hell is she talking about? Because I think what I want to do is English-speaking people barely understand what I want to do. So can you imagine, I go into this meeting, I'm trying to convey this to all the staff that only speaks Japanese, and then it has to be translated over. And I'm just like, what the hell? It's really rough to try and convey, like, the language barrier of it all, of trying to convey my very absurd ideas. But I got really lucky. The director-san that I got was very kind and very sweet, and just immediately knew what I wanted, and was so on board with my ideas. It was a very, like, trust the process kind of thing. I feel like my director-san was really good and knew exactly what kind of humor I wanted, because there was a lot of time where other staff would be like, I don't get it. And they're like, don't worry, I do. I think in my initial proposal, I have like some things where they intentionally look bad, but you know, you try to, it's a 3D showcase. They put a lot of effort into this, and it's like a huge event, and they're like, this has to be the most polished thing ever, and we have to work really hard to make sure that it's really high quality. And so I come in here and I'm like, no, I want it to look like shit. That was me from the ground floor, from the very beginning. I'm like, no, it needs to look terrible. The worse it looks, the better. Because in the beginning, I'm trying to be very, like, I know that my idea is very out there. It doesn't have to look very good if the effort is too high. If it looks dumb, I think it looks better. So don't even worry. I knew I always wanted a random old man to play a wizard. And honestly, in my head, I'm just like, just find a random person on Fiverr. I think it'd be hilarious. They did not. They didn't. They went through an actual agency to find. Initially, when I proposed it, I'm like, just pick up any random person. And I was also thinking, what I want is kind of a lot of effort and I don't know how you're gonna find someone to sing and dance with me. Because I knew that I wanted the old man to sing and dance with me, because I think it would have been really funny. And then the script is kind of like absurd too. You can even have the old man read off a script. He doesn't have to memorize any lines. He can very visibly be holding a piece of paper trying to read a script, and it'll still be funny. And it's okay. You can do that. And initially, I was also saying, oh, we don't have to use like the studio. You can just film him on a random background and then chroma key him out. So that was me initially. So what happened? You know, wow, they really went above and beyond my initial proposal. When I pitched the children's choir, I was expecting a completely amateur children. I don't know why. I guess I should not have expected this because they're gonna, of course, it's hololive. They're gonna find the best that they possibly can. But initially, I was thinking that they would just go to a I don't know, a random place and just get a bunch of. And I was expecting it to sound like shit. I'll be so upfront. I was really expecting it to sound terrible. When they showed me the recording, I was like, what the hell? These children are professionals. They can sing. They write the lyrics, yes. Does this count as my first original? They have to discuss budget and everything. They had multiple meetings about the budget for literally probably every part, but especially the children's choir. And they're like, how much is this gonna be? How much is it gonna cost? And then they're like, oh, Gigi-san, we're really sorry. We might only be able to acquire 8 kids because of the budget. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Me doesn't care. And then they're like, Gigi-san, we had another meeting. We found room in the budget for 15 children. I'm like, oh, okay. Can you imagine them having these really serious meetings of the budget of how many children can sing for my 3D? Yeah, I wish I was a part of these meetings. I cannot imagine these meetings completely serious-faced. 1 hour of them very seriously discussing the logistics of this, and it kills me. It kills me imagining them discuss logistics on all like the stupidest things. So funny. It was a really great experience. So thank you, staff who worked on my 3D to turn it into something really, really great. And I'm happy that it could be in this way. And thank you to director-san who also worked really hard to bring my ideas to life. We had to take my initial proposal, and then we also had to really massively cut that down. And then we also had to make it more palatable for literally everyone else. Because my director really understood me. They got me. But it was explaining it in Japanese that was really difficult. So they also wrote a different script. The script that they wrote was like 70 pages long. I'm like, sorry for making you do so much work. But the entire time, they're like, no, you don't have to follow my script at all, but we have to do this because it needs to be understood by everyone else that can't speak English. You know, everyone who's working on it, they have to know what's going on. I'm like, oh, okay.